Hello, everyone. Welcome to our event today. We're going to get started in just a moment. Please get settled, get comfortable, and we'll get started in a few minutes. It's so exciting to see so many people here. They're all so prompt, too. Welcome, welcome. Settle in. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Right. Okay, another 30 seconds or so. Amazing. A lot of new names, a lot of new people here to see. I don't know how to pronounce your name here, Joanne Paulo. So excited to meet you too. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, I'm also super excited for this workshop.
Yeah, thank you. My name
Yeah,
is João Paulo, but you
Juan,
can
okay.
call me John if it's
John,
easier.
okay. I'm so sorry. I will work on that, but I probably will call you John for now.
It's fine.
Great. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so hi again. My name is Leslie. I am the Director of Operations at PIM, Purpose and Motion. And today I'm just really excited to see all of you here for this amazing 10th anniversary event we're doing, From Idea to Impact, How to Start a Social Enterprise. And yeah, I'm amazed that there's just so many people here. You guys are so excited and then also so prompt too. A lot of you were waiting in the waiting room right before we even got started. So yeah, before we really start off this event, there's just a few key reminders I wanted to go through with you guys, just in case you weren't familiar with Zoom. First of all, can you all scroll down? Do me a big favor, scroll down to the bottom of your screen and click on this little icon that says chat. And then once you're in the chat box, can you please just type in where you are in the world right now? I kind of want to see where everyone is. Algeria, Singapore, Libya. Wow. Argentina, Chile, China. Okay, we have some in China. Okay, Hangzhou. Yes, I know Lallas in Hangzhou. Okay. New York. Yeah. Hi, Jasmine. I'm in Seoul, Korea, the land of K-pop. I guess anyone likes K-pop. We have Ghana. So cool. You guys are like tuning in from all over the world. Thank you so much for making the time to join us and from all these different places. Please, so you've all now found, you all know where the chat box is. If you have any questions for our speaker tonight, please feel free to just type them in here in the chat box. We'll collect all of these questions and we'll ask the speaker these questions during our Q&A. Okay, so good to see and meet all of you. Please also note that we will be recording this event as well, and we'll also be sharing it. So feel free to share that with your peers and other people that your friends that may not have been able to join us tonight. And don't be shy, turn on your camera, feel free to engage with us and stay till the very end so we can take a nice group photo, okay? Okay, so really quickly, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about PIM. So PIM, Purpose in Motion, we are a social enterprise that empowers young people with the education, resources, and network to become mission-driven leaders and effective change makers. And this is a really exciting year for us this year because we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. We've been here now for 10 years. And within these last 10 years, we've impacted and supported over 13,000 aspiring leaders, participating in over 50 of our programs. Our programs have reached over 110 countries, both online and offline. I think a lot of the people here that are joining us are probably alumni of our programs. If you are, it's really great to see you guys again. And we've also mobilized over $850,000 to help support other organizations and startups to amplify their impact, their social impact in the whole world. We're really, really proud of how far we've come in these last 10 years. And we also just wanted to share this momentous time and celebrate this time with everyone, including all of you in our community. And that's part of why we're organizing this series of anniversary events. So because we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, we've decided to host 10 different events, one every single month for 10 months this year, all focused on different topics related to social entrepreneurship, social impact, how to inspire the change makers and all that. So feel free to check out our website here to stay tuned about what our upcoming events are. In fact, actually, let me give you guys a quick look at what this website looks like here. We've launched a brand new landing page that's just for in celebration of our anniversary. And then if you go to this page, you can kind of scroll down and see a little sneak peek of the upcoming events that we will have. So I hope to see all you guys in the coming months as well. So stick with us. Great. Okay, let me go back here quickly. Okay, well, without further ado, let me introduce today's speaker. So today's speaker, her name is Lallas Chen. She's someone that I've known for a few years now, but I've really, really been eager to try to find an opportunity to be able to reconnect with her and work with her. And just so delighted that we're able to invite her for a speaker here with Pim. A little bit about Lallas. She is the China Programs Manager of Watson Institute. And Watson Institute is an institute that provides a lot of social entrepreneurship training, a lot of incubator programs and fellowship programs for young change makers. And she was actually alumni at Watson Institute. So she is an Enlight China Fellow at Watson, and she's got an MA in International Law from the University for Peace, UN mandated, and received a full scholarship at Quantic MBA. Please correct me if I mispronounce that too, Lallas. And she just has so much rich experience with helping to inspire and support other social entrepreneurs and other change makers. So she really is the perfect speaker for today's event. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing and we'll just welcome Lallas here with us. How are you today, Lallas?
Thank you, Leslie. I'm so excited and honored to be here with all of you today. I really didn't expect this. You know, when Leslie told me so many people are coming from everywhere, joining, tuning in, I was like thrilled because I actually thought it's just like a webinar for probably people from the Northeast Asian region. And I'm so thrilled to see in the chat box that everyone is from everywhere and is really like, I'm just glad to see you here. Even if I can't see your face, most of your faces, I can feel your energy, and I'm just like thrilled to open up the space and be here with all of you tonight. And hope we can, enjoy the conversation. And yeah, just ask me anything, honestly. If you,
Thank you.
on top of everything, Leslie want to ask,
Yeah.
feel free.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Like because you're just willing to be kind of just open to any of these. So please, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box and we'll start collecting your questions now. But just to get started really quickly, Lallas, can you tell us a little bit about when you first learned about the idea of social impact? And
Yeah.
was social impact something you kind of always wanted to do?
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. That's such a great question and really interesting. For me, it's more like it's destiny. It just dropped on my head. I've never heard about social innovation, social impact actually before. I got the fellowship to Watson in 2017, and back then I was already like working as a teacher, a TOEFL teacher. I don't know if you guys know that in the private sector. But I have questions about, what's the purpose of education, especially in private sector, you really witness that every day, like education being like a product, and it's extremely unfair. It can be purchased off, and like the distribution of the resources is not fair enough, and all those just like raise like it just like dropping a bomb on my head, and I was like, if someone calls me teacher, I want to figure it out. what's the real meaning of that, and what kind of education I really want to provide to my students, or whoever is being in that relationship with me. So I started exploring that. trying to figure out if there is any kind of, what we call innovative education model, innovative education programs out there so that I can learn from. That's how I found out about Watson. And luckily, back then, to be honest with you, like not many people has heard about Watson. So I feel really lucky. I lucked it out by, just applying. So if there's any takeaway from that, just always seize opportunity, always apply, just apply. That's the first thing you can do. There's nothing to lose, right? The worst thing is you don't get it, but what if you get it, right? So that's actually how I ended up, knocking on the door of this social impact world. So after I bumped into Watson, I was like, well, meeting all these amazing people in Boulder, coming like just like you guys, it's a super international cohort coming from everywhere, and everyone's coming with questions. Actually, we all have like questions about the world, about how to make maybe just little things better, maybe just like within our community, things that we personally experienced, or like we see people around us who are experiencing those things, and there might be something that we can make a change about. So we came together to figure out as young people what we can do. So yeah, that's actually how it all started. It started with a very simple question, and that kind of itches me. It's like it's an urge. I really couldn't explain, but I feel really lucky and privileged to have entered this world. And after my 4-month fellowship, I just couldn't go back.
Right.
My mentor at Watson asked me, she's like, so what's next? Are you going back to your previous career path or whatnot? And I was like, oh, no way, I just can't go back. There's no other way, like Robert Frost said, always take the road that's taken, right? And for me, it's not a choice at all. There's just like no way back, because once you open up this world, I just realized this is my passion, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And I feel really, really, really grateful for everyone, including Pam, Leslie, and everyone I've worked with along the way, our fellows, our community partners, and everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's such an amazing kind of start. But I also think that you're being a bit too modest too. I had a few conversations with Lallas before this, and I think I do definitely relate. I think like you're early on, like you really had a pretty established career as just a teacher. I was really teaching English, and in China too. So in a system that was very rigid, and you definitely felt that um, educate there wasn't an equal distribution of opportunities, especially in education for everyone. And I really I have a lot of admiration in you that you were someone that was in that field. You that was your career, but you saw this kind of discrepancy and you felt like it wasn't right and you wanted to make a change and do something about that. And most of the times we realize, like we go through our life and our community, we identify maybe a problem, but a lot of people just go on with their lives without really taking any effort in wanting to make a change. But I applaud you that you did, and you landed yourself in Watson. You managed to create your own kind of journey there, and then now you kind of come full circle where you've now become the China programs manager at Watson Institute in China. So you're now helping to impact other change makers to help make the world a better place and more of a social impact. Really appreciate that. But I think one of the things that I really want to ask you is just that you've now worked with so many students and obviously people from all over the world that are trying to tackle social issues, environmental issues from many different places. It's so diverse. But I just wanted to just kind of curious, are there any common challenges you think or pitfalls that you see most young or first-time social entrepreneurs often encountering, regardless of kind of what background they're from? And if you can elaborate a little bit for us.
Yeah, definitely. Because I went through that journey myself. I guess, I have to apologize first if I, have to use some very generalized terms, and it's all my personal views, not representing my organization. So yeah, anyway, if I have to generalize that, I would say, from my own personal experience and many close friends that I've worked with, and I grew up together through this journey, I would say definitely we face a lot of social pressure. I guess that's the most challenging part, because it might not surfaced up at the beginning, right? Because for example, in Watson, in our early years, we work with young, social entrepreneurs who are mostly around 18 to, 24, that age group. So most of them were just like in college or just graduated from college, right? And they're still like super passionate and maybe a little bit naive about the reality about the society and stuff. And they're like, oh, I have all these dream. I want to help. I want to pour my passion into this venture, so and so. But later then, you would witness a lot of things and a lot of peer pressure, social pressure, especially in the Asian culture coming from your family and stuff, right? Different expectations coming from all directions, literally pressing you to sort of really think about what kind of life that you want to pursue, like what kind of career you want to pursue. And unfortunately, more often than not, people are pressing into the traditional, the mainstream direction, right? It's pretty unfortunate, but to be honest, it's like it's a fact. Like we have to admit that. Maybe social entrepreneurship, social innovation will just be like a period, a journey of your life, and it's totally fine. And that's what touched me the most. When I first entered into our program back in 2017, literally in our orientation, our VP back then was telling us, I was very shocked. She was telling us like, here at Watson, we encourage you to fail. We encourage you to pivot. Like, when you feel it's not the thing for you anymore, like you don't have to, be stuck with your venture because we care more about you as a person. So to be honest, even though we use all these terms, we use all these tools about social innovation, social enterprise entrepreneurship, all these kind of things, but eventually they are tools. We care more about people. We care more about what each individual learn and grow throughout this journey, and their holistic development as a person is what matters more. And I feel like I personally benefited a lot from this experience, and I definitely resonate with all these challenges. And a lot of times I really want to say to my friends or whoever is facing these kind of similar issue, just be really, really honest with you. Like if with yourself, if you have like family to prioritize, if you have to really balance, the reality, the challenges in reality, or like sometimes it's okay. Like you just make honest decisions up to yourself, because each person's priorities in life is different, and it can change. Don't burn yourself out, because we have witnessed a trend of people who are in this field. In China, the statistics is average after 7 years, when they are entering this space, people will burn out. And that's why we're doing a lot of personal development programs, including using life coaching, positive psychology, and all that to help build that foundation at a very early stage. Your well-being, your mental health is really important in order to support you to have that energy, right, to consistently support not just yourself, but your venture and the community that you want to create an impact on.
Foster and build.
So yeah.
Oh, wow. Like that's such a rich answer, and it's just actually I have so many more questions now to follow up with that. I think a few things that were really great that you had mentioned here is the pressure. I think, um, and that's not actually something that is often talked about any type of entrepreneur, whether you're an entrepreneur in a more traditional sense or a social entrepreneur. A lot of the rhetoric that we kind of have around it is just how amazing that journey is, that you're trying to make an impact, you're trying to change other people's lives, and make the world a better place. But there isn't always such a focus in kind of the realization of what happens behind the scenes, that the when you're working through this, it is very meaningful work, but there is a lot of pressure that kind of goes in. Some of it's internal, it's some of it's kind of personal, it's from your life and family. And I'm sure that there's a lot of pressure to succeed. There's a pressure to find a solution. There's all these different pieces. So I think first and foremost, and I'm going to sum that up for everyone here, budding social entrepreneurs, make sure that you do take care of your mental health, and definitely take care of yourself, because if you really want to invest in building a social enterprise, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a long and term investment. So you have to really put yourself first and take care of yourself so that it can be sustainable. But that actually helps bring me to another question. I remember doing a kind of a storytelling workshop for PIM a few months ago. So I got to work with a lot of our students. And one of the questions that one of the students had asked during the Q&A session was, what kind of advice would you give to a student that doesn't feel like they're capable? So they're really young, they're they have a lot of ambition, they really want to, they've identified a social issue, they really want to go for it, but they often feel like they're not good enough, that they're too young, they're not experienced enough, they don't have the right qualifications, the right they don't have a PhD under their belt. And what kind of advice do you have for them in terms of navigating that?
Yeah, it sounds really cliche, Leslie. I'm actually embarrassed to say that, but you know, there's nothing to lose, because exactly because you started with nothing. You're so young, right? You're so reckless. There's nothing to fear about, right? I guess that's the best part of being young, right? And I remember telling you that story, how I ended up in Watson, because I was actually piloting with a group of friends. You know, we were really passionate about English debating back then. We were doing a lot of parliamentary debating, and we felt like we gained a lot through those training, critical thinking, and really opened up our, you know, knowledge to this vast world, to really learn about, you know, all the politics, economy, culture from different regions and all that. And we are really passionate about bringing this into more people's life. So without a lot of you know, background research, actually without any kind of, you know, basic business knowledge, we dived into it, and we piloted. We were doing like a app, you know, to promote online debating, literally. And after a while, we actually brought that demo into Watson, and that's how I got the fellowship. And then as soon as we started the course at Watson, you know, we start learning about, you know, all the Canva, the thing, right? How you identify the problem and how you do like product and market fit and all step by step and everything. And as soon as I started that course, I realized we did everything wrong and it's never gonna work. And that's the moment I realized, oh, like this is the reality. It's a huge reality check for me, but you know, which we've already invested in a lot of time and money as well back then. And then we have to just happily accept that we failed and we learned. We learned so much, and until today, I still, you know, talked about this failure story as a super important life lesson for me, because without these, you will never learn so much. And I think, you know, life is all about experience. It's not, if you really think back, like those highlights in my life, where I enjoyed the success, it's only like it's actually really really short, right? Those moments that you can really think about, like those highlights where you were like, how to say, applauded or like wowed, right? But if you really think back how I personally, for me, how I failed, I think those are the ones which can bring a lot of memories and life stories to share. Yeah.
Right. No, I actually love how you're talking about a failure story while laughing and smiling about it. I think that in itself kind of just demonstrates how much kind of like emotional and mental kind of work that you've really and changing your mindset around it that you've done, so that it's like a healthier mindset you can have when you're working in like the social entrepreneurship space. And that really does kind of go back to what you were saying about pressures. I think it's in a lot of cultures, and I think a lot of Asian cultures especially, that we kind of view success in a certain way, and that there's so much pressure to need to just succeed. And I think because of the way we've grown up and been conditioned, when we look at building a social enterprise, we think the same thing. Like if we just put in a lot of effort and we've tried really hard and we've invested some money, of course it's going to eventually succeed, right? And that's kind of, I think, maybe what a lot of young first-time social entrepreneurs kind of what they think when they're investing themselves into this. But like you said, but reality is a very different thing. Like product market fit is a very different thing. You can put a lot of work in this, but if the market doesn't actually need this solution, or your solution isn't one that's really adding that value, it's ultimately it's going to fail. But it's about how you assess that failure and how do you kind of move on from there. But then I think even the term failure, like learning to fail and failing fast, I think is such a common thing that's said now kind of in the startup world. But I think failure in itself is a little bit more complex than that. I think it's more gray than that, because it's not easy to necessarily assess failure. So how do you know exactly when this product is like, no, this is definitely not going to work. We have to completely scrap this, or it's just that we haven't yet we're going the right direction, but we haven't yet had a breakthrough, right? And do you have any advice when you're mentoring kind of young social entrepreneurs, like how to assess what is a failure and what is actually just something that you have to just keep testing?
Yeah, totally. That's a really good question. I think a very good way is to do a lot of interviews and definitely ask people who have experience in this field. That's why in Watson, in our curriculum, we use a lot of mentorship. We literally pair our fellows with people who are from that background to mentor them, because we think that's the most effective way. People have walked that walk, and they won't fool you, because if they failed, they will definitely tell you, hey, there's a hole up there. Don't jump in. And that's super effective. And so one, learn from people who have experience in that. And two, definitely go to your audience, whoever is your target audience, get their feedback. And that's actually what we learned from our failure. Because we made up everything in our head, and we are a bunch of like super passionate debaters. And of course, right, we would love like things we design and everything, and we would expect everyone to love it. And then we realize, okay, fine. How many of you, even I can do a quick survey here. How many of you guys, let alone did debate? How many of you would be interested in like a debate app?
And
I guess,
paying for it, right?
exactly. And the market will tell you, it might be really harsh. Like it might be like emotionally very hard for you to accept it, but you have to listen to that. And right now with the developed, AI and everything technology, you can get all this really fast. There are a lot of tools out there, a lot of statistics, right, where you can quickly get the answer, get the feedback from the audience, and be like, hey, probably it's not gonna work. And we can always pivot. But I do think there should be some consistency within that. And that should be, well, it's another cliche, like follow your heart.
Mm.
If it's really what your heart tells you, you have to do it anyways. You won't care. You won't care about like if nobody buys that. You know what I mean? Like actually a lot of people succeeded that way, due to their stubbornness. If we can say that. Yeah. But
Okay.
I bet they follow their heart. They were like, oh, no matter what people say, like even if it doesn't work out now, even if it's a product that's like too early for the market, they still believe one day it's gonna work, and they still thrive for that. And that's something I truly admire as well.
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay. No, it's really, yeah, like I said, I think success and failure really is more gray than how we kind of categorize it. Like it really kind of depends on the context and the individual. Because I remember listening to some Stanford courses about like startup and entrepreneurship, and it's the same thing. Like a lot of companies, like vast majority of companies that fail or have kind of closed, um, or not necessarily because they've ran out of funds or like their idea really could not be marketed, is that they gave up too early too. It's like they felt like there just wasn't a future in this, so that they had closed. So I think it's a hard question, I think, to put you on the spot to answer. I think it really does depend on the individual cases. But I think something to keep in mind for everyone here is that getting audience feedback is really the most important. And I think we might be really shy about getting that feedback, but it is the most vital for your survival, so that you can get relevant feedback, so that you know how you can make your product better, and you have a better chance of making that survive and making an impact. And then it's really up to you and your team to help assess along the way what the different failures are, and then how you may or may not pivot, and what those next steps are. So that then kind of brings me to my next question, Lala. So you talked about mentors. You talked about having like people support you. Do you have any advice in how you build a team? How do you build a good team around you? Because I think another myth that we have in kind of entrepreneurship is the myth of like the sole genius, right? Like your Elon Musk kind of character, like the one person that can do it all, and they're just so smart that they just can figure it all out. But I think in reality, especially in entrepreneurship, you can't do it without a team, and you need to make sure you build the right team that can have your back, that can cover your weaknesses and have different strengths than you. But that's also not easy to do. So do you have any advice in how you find that team, and how you foster and build that team?
Thank you. That's a really good question, and I feel super lucky. Because at Watson we work with amazing people. Uh, Especially with our two co-founders, they've been working with Watson since the beginning together, and it's been more than 10 years now. And I think they are really a pair of really good example of what good teamwork should look like. I guess one is fully trust your partners, your teammates, if they are already in the team. I mean, before they officially join in the team, we can do a lot of, due diligence. Yeah, and stuff like definitely that's very necessary. But after they are in, I think trust is really important. And I guess in our culture, in our office culture, that's really really helpful, and that's how like well, for me personally, that's why I can't leave. I don't want to.
Yes.
I think this trust and culture is definitely largely missing in the entrepreneurial world, right? Like a lot of places they treat each other just like machines. Unfortunately, that's the reality, especially in business world. Maybe in non-profit sectors, social enterprises should be better. But a lot of places like it's very the communication and everything is not really like, I personally don't think it's healthy. And our work takes a huge part of our life. And I think finding the people that you enjoy working together with is super important. Otherwise, you'll be whining and you will be miserable because that's like the majority of your life will be dealing with that. And definitely don't do that. So I think yeah, fully trust them, and then find people, you know, who are compatible with your skill set. We have to admit our, you know, our advantages and disadvantages, and really understand ourselves first. I think can help us to find the right teammates. Because for me, like I can recommend everyone to do the MBTI test. That's a very sneaky, you know, HR tool. It really helps. Trust me, it really helps. For me, like I even I learned something from our co-founder Andrew Lippy.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Super effective. So I remember the first day I joined Watson, he sent me a manual of him. Like literally, like, you know, in a lot of details, like he described what kind of person he is, you know, and what are the red lines for him, you know. So yeah, it's super clear and it's super fun to read. And then after reading that, you will be like, okay, I respect you, right? I respect those boundaries you set, and I accept you as who you are. And we are very, you know, the communication can be much more easier that way. You know what I mean? Like how you deal with each other's way of style of working, their personality and all that. I think having that in an office space is really important. So yeah, for me, I think I would recommend any kind of organization to do this, no matter how small you are. That kind of bonding, that kind of trust and culture building is the fundamental thing. If I could give any suggestion.
I cannot agree more. I cannot agree more. Like you always will just enjoy your work so much more when you're with people that share the same values as you. And if you have a really great culture, you really do feel like you're a team that's working towards a mission. So I definitely agree. I think if when you're looking to build your team, everyone make sure that you are finding people that share that same value with you. But even if they share the same value as you, you also want to find people that are very different than you. So they have a different skill set than you, they have a different perspective of things than you. And I think another thing Lala's kind of mentioned too is just they're good communicators. You have to figure out how they set their boundaries. Are you able to work through issues and challenges together? You communicate well. And then I think maybe one thing I definitely want to add is I think you want people that are growth minded, that are flexible and will grow with you, because you're growing so much when you're building a social enterprise. It's not just you, it's your enterprise is growing, but you have to keep up with it. And every stage of that, you're learning new things, your organization is growing, and you really want a team around you that is willing to take on all the new challenges that come your way and are there with you, right? They may present different perspectives, they may have different ideas than you, but they're willing to grow with you. So I think those are really important things to keep in mind as you're building the right team. And that's really great. That kind of reminds me a little bit, Lallas, of this special motto that Watson Institute has. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Protect your courage.
Yeah. Can you explain why it's so significant for Watson, but also how is that relevant for social entrepreneurs?
Yeah, thank you for echoing that back, Ashley.
Yes, we have to talk about this.
Actually, you touched upon this earlier when you were asking, you know, a lot of people, they didn't know how to start. Like they were fearing about, you know, a lot of things, fears that prevent them from starting to, you know, even to begin with. And I guess that's where our motto is coming from, to protect it. We designed this motto specifically to protect that courage. That kind of fear should be wiped out. We have, when you have a community supporting you, holding your back, and having a group of people and coming from all over the world and knowing that you guys are thriving towards the same goals. You're not alone. You're definitely not alone. And having mentors and preceptors, well, that's how we call teachers here in Watson, who have walked before you, who have experience in what you're doing, and you've seen them did it well. It all gives you a lot of courage, and then it protects you, right? To stay focused and to have confidence and all that. And I guess it all started with our founder's personal experience. He actually started his first social enterprise when he was in high school. And and he went through that whole journey, right? He was doing that part-time in high school, in undergrad, and everything. And then it became his full-time career, and he did it all. So he knew how challenging it is, especially as a young people to begin with. So after went through all that, he was looking back, and then he realized, okay, there's something missing, right? If he could have like a more supportive system around him, things could be easier, at least, right? So, sorry. So he was thinking, well, if he could, do that journey, then probably there are a lot more like him out there in the world who wants to do good, who wants to make a change, right? And who actually wanted to start it young, but they were afraid. They are lacking of experience, they're lacking of capitals and all that, right? That's how Watson was founded. And he realized, okay, with all the experience he personally gained and all the network he has built over the years, he was like, okay, this is the right time. We can try it. Try to protect the courage of people, who wanted to do at least, small steps to probably make things different around them. Yeah.
No, I definitely appreciate that. And that was also something that had like stuck with me too. I think when you're building something kind of from zero, it does take a lot of courage every step of the way. So make sure you protect that and you can keep growing with that. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm gonna open up the floor a little bit to Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them up in the chat box and I'll get through them. But there's a few here. Sorry, I'm gonna call you John again. So we have a message from John. He says, "Hello, Lallas. Thank you for being here with us. What would you recommend when it comes to balance economic sustainability and social impact in a social enterprise? I've been thinking a lot about this because they seem to be two antagonistic sides of a social enterprise. So do you have any thoughts there?"
Thank you, John. It's a super common question. I get, people around me ask that every day. To be honest, I guess there's no cure. You will always face that issue, and even not with a social enterprise, with any kind of business, any kind of organization, they have to ask that question pretty much like every day, right? If you are not like a large corporate with very sustainable capital flow, it is definitely challenging for everyone. And especially with social enterprise, I'll be just like using, my personal perspective as references. I think it's more about internal struggle, to be honest. I think with most social entrepreneurs, the second step is the reality. The first step is always internal struggle. Is it might not be true for some people, but I have met a lot of young social entrepreneurs who are having, including myself. I have to be honest. Like I used to have money shame. I don't know the right term for this, but but I definitely encountered a lot of people who are working in the sector, in nonprofit, charity, social enterprise sectors, who have this similar symptom. We are afraid of talking about money. We feel ashamed about like asking money, asking for financial help and all that. And it's not healthy. For me and for a lot of people around us, like if you start experiencing this kind of internal struggle, you can easily burn out. And it's very unhealthy for an organization. So I think if you are actually facing these issue, my personal recommendation would be, pause and then really go back and have a internal personal dialogue first to see if it's something you have to deal with first, and then as a team, you can find a solution, because the second step is actually easier to deal with. Being honest with oneself is the harder part for me, at least. And I realized I how to say, for a very long time, I was avoiding this issue. And actually that's how I preferred to be, working with social enterprises and everything. I guess like part of the reason, if I have to be 100% authentic, is to avoid the money issue, to avoid the business world, which I thought was filthy or whatever, like associated with a lot of, bad terms with, right? Those kind of prejudices. But actually the world is not as simple as black and white, good or bad, especially when we are doing social enterprise, when we are thinking about doing good. It's very easy to fall into these kind of zero-sum trap, right? To really distance ourselves from the rest of it. And that's not the reality. The world is a very holistic, very, beautiful yin and yang balance. Without the dark side, there will be no good to be demonstrated, right? So now I guess it's age as well. Age definitely helps. I realize, after a few years of life experience and everything, I realized, one, I can admit that, and a lot of my friends around me, they feel the same too. We can accept it. Okay, if I have money shame, then accept it. First, recognize it, and then if you want to change, you can do some change about it. If not, then it's still fine, right? It's part of your personality and everything. There's nothing wrong about it, but just be aware it's part of you, and it might not be true for the rest of your team, for the venture and everything. And then you can take a step back and think about how, as an organization, it can be more sustainable, come zoom out from that personal kind of internal struggle, and then really think from a more organizational perspective as, how to do that. And then I bet, with collective wisdom, with all the tools out there, a lot of programs apply for funding, apply for grants, a lot of incubators, a lot of fellowships like Watson. We can support help to early startups who are focusing on these areas. So there's always a way, but the first step is the most important work for me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really well said. Yeah, and great that you kind of brought this up too, John. I think that is probably something that a lot of us internally kind of struggle with too. And I think the way that I kind of think about it is that you have to think about your own well-being, but the well-being, the sustainability of your own social enterprise. Like, and you have to do the work that Lala was talking about. Like, money is not dirty, but money will help make this sustainable. You need to find a way to make it economically sustainable for you and for everyone you work with, so that you can continue providing value and help actually change the lives of other people. But it's also thinking about amplifying that impact. So with more funds, you can use it to reinvest and do more things so that you can make a greater impact. So I think, yes, you have to kind of like balance it out, but I think you could also shift how you can maybe think about it, that they might be interlinked as well. They may be one of the same thing. It's that money is that engine that's going to help you make that bigger social impact. But it's definitely part of that journey. And that brings us to this really like great transition to this next question I have, and it's from Jasmine. She's actually our founder and executive director of PIM. So it's really great that Jasmine's here too. And her question here is, I really appreciate your refreshing and genuine perspectives, Lallas. I'd like to hear more about getting resources for social enterprises in the early stage. Can you share any recommendations you have for getting initial funding and customers when you have very little track record?
Thank you, Jasmine. So nice to see you here. And yeah, well, I guess it's a great question. And I can definitely share more with Watson, how we do this at Watson, because we actually provide seed funding, and we provide fully funded fellowships to, people who are exactly going through these stages. We help early stage social entrepreneurs to go through different fellowship programs with the training in how to start a social enterprise and how to scale up and everything. And yeah, I bet we're not alone. We're working with a lot of organizations around the world to provide support to tackle this issue specifically. And I think if it's actually how to say, I can't really provide a holistic list of whoever's doing this, but I guess people can easily research that and get resources from. But I do think if there's anywhere we can start is applying. Leslie, like I said, how I started with my own journey is like, whenever you see opportunities like this, don't hesitate. Doesn't matter if you think you fit the requirements, just apply first. The reason why I say this is because the application process itself is a great learning experience. And you can literally through the application, you can go back and pivot and improve your venture, right? And really see if you fail it, then see what's missing, and it's like free tutoring and then you can apply to the next one. So yeah, there's literally not many tricks. Just apply to as many opportunities as possible. Doesn't matter if it's incubator, it's grant, it's fellowship, seed funding, just do a lot of research and find these opportunities, and then always knock on the doors. Because if you don't try, it never drop on your head.
Right.
Like
what happened to you.
Yeah, but if you do, like for me, I really enjoy this application process, to be honest with you. And especially when you get the opportunity to have interviews. I think that's the most valuable part. And it's always like a tradition. At the end of the interview, they always ask you, hey, if you have any questions, feel free, right? Definitely take that opportunity to know more about the program, and to even ask for their feedback about your venture, or the things that you're doing, because those admission officers, they're super experienced, and don't let them go so easily. Just seize that opportunity and yeah, just be well, in Watson we have this culture of being extremely authentic, and I think that's what helped me, knocked on many doors. And if there's anything I could share with you is that always knock on the door, and then when the doors open, be extremely authentic. If you have questions, say it, and you need help, say it, right? There are definitely people out there who are, who cherish your courage, who cherish your authenticity, and they want to protect that. And I guess that's why, PIM and Watson and many, many other organizations like us are existing basically for that.
Yeah. We're
yeah.
here for you guys. We're here to support you through that journey. So yeah, I really appreciate everything Lala was saying. So do your research, make sure you apply, get involved, protect your courage and be brave. Take those steps consistently if this is something you really, really want to do. So thank you all so much for that. But thank you, Lala. We're running a little bit out of time, but I just want to say a big thank you for sharing so much with us. I always enjoy speaking with you, but I think we got even more out of this from you. And really quickly, I want to read a message from Thomas. He says, not really a question, but thank you, Lallas, for being here with us today. You are a very inspiring person. Your passion for what you do in your day-to-day life is truly inspiring. Thank you so much for all your advice. And we're just getting a whole bunch of flood of amazing messages here just to thank you. So no, big thank you for you. But before we completely wrap up, you can stick with me for a little bit, guys. If you can all just do me a favor and whip out your phones and please scan this QR code and please just fill out this short form for us so that we can collect a little bit of feedback from you about today's event. Feel free to also share any ideas you have or suggestions you have for future topics, to future speakers that we can maybe feature. Please type that in there for me. I'll give you guys a few minutes to fill that out. While I also want to share my quick reflections here with Lallas. I think you've really kind of summarized the kind of emotional and personal journey of a social entrepreneur really, really well. And I really appreciate you actually shining a better light on all that. And like I mentioned early on, I think oftentimes when we talk about challenges that social entrepreneurs face, we also often talk about like the technical challenges, the like the realistic kind of more tangible challenges. And I think we don't often, we almost don't value them the same way when it's more about the other personal things or the pressures that you have to go through in that journey. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story with us. And I took a lot away from that, and I hope it sticks here with everyone too. Yeah, and then last here, I want to make sure that we have time to take a group photo. Can you all just turn on your camera for me really quickly and stop sharing? I'm going to take a nice photo of everyone. Haolan, if you can please help us too. I'm going to take a few photos, but let's do two. We're going to do one that's nice and serious, and then we're going to do one that's nice and silly, okay? Come on, guys. I want to see more faces. Harriet, Simon, Xiaoyu, Manling. I give you guys a few more minutes. Hi, Julia. Nice. Thank you. Hi, Leonardo. Cool. Manling. Great. Okay. All right. There's a lot of us here, so we're gonna bear with us. You gotta hold your smile. Okay, we're gonna do, there's 2 pages of us. So hold it. Okay. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. 3, 2, 1, cheers. Okay, great. Now let's do a silly one. Okay. 3, 2, 1, hold it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, hold it. Perfect. Okay, thank you guys so much. And then last but not least, I want to go through this with you guys really quickly. So here is a few ways that you guys can stay in touch and get to learn a little bit more about Watson. So feel free to screenshot this, take a photo of this, whatever you need. I also have, with Blah's permission, have also added her email here. So if you want to reach out to her directly, feel free to do that. And yeah, like she said, make sure that you do your research and apply. Don't be scared, just apply. Don't be so scared of failing. But also, in addition to Watson, Kim is also here for you guys as well. So make sure you stay in touch with us. This is all our information here. We have launched a brand new LinkedIn group. So make sure that you join us on LinkedIn, and we're going to continue these conversations on LinkedIn. And we're also going to share the recording of today's event in that LinkedIn group. So this is a QR code that you can scan to join that group. Please join there. Lallas, you as well. We would like to extend an invitation for you. And then that way it's easier for you to also stay connected with our community too. So, yep. Thank you guys all so much. It was really great seeing all of you. Thank you again, Lallas, for sharing your story, being so vulnerable. Thank you so much. Thank you, Haolan, who's my teammate, my amazing colleague. She's here that helped manage everything in the Zoom background. So she helped make sure that all the technical stuff worked really well. So thank you so much. Shout out for you, Haolan. Big thank you for Jasmine for being a great boss and helping to make sure that we do such amazing events too for our community and celebrating PIN's 10th anniversary. And last but not least, like thank you all of you for showing up today. Right? Thank you all so much and hope to see you guys again next month for our next event. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Lallas. Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye,
you.
Leslie. Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good
Bye,
night. Good
everyone.
day.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Thank you.
ciao.
Bye.